Let's talk about one of the biggest challenges in real estate right now. How do you actually measure risk in a world where the climate is constantly changing? It's a huge question, but what if you could go beyond just knowing a property is near a hazard to understanding exactly what the financial hit will be? Well, today we're diving into a major breakthrough that does just that. RiskFootprint version 18. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. First up, we'll unpack this critical risk gap that's affecting the market. Then we'll see how a new standard in intelligence is rising to the challenge. The heart of our discussion will be what's new and game-changing in version 18, and then we'll tie it all together by looking at how you can turn these insights into real action and boost your resilience. So, let's kick things off with a fundamental problem, what we call the widening risk gap. At its core, this is all about a massive shift in thinking. It's about moving beyond simply seeing that you're exposed to a hazard and getting to a place where you truly understand your financial vulnerability. It's a difference that honestly can make or break an entire investment. And that really leads to the million-dollar question for anyone managing property assets, right? Are you pricing climate risk correctly? The hard truth is, with most of the tools out there today, it's almost impossible to answer that question with a confident yes. This slide really breaks down the core issue perfectly. See, exposure is simple. It's just knowing a property is near a hazard, like a flood zone on a map, but vulnerability, that's the key. That's knowing how that hazard is actually going to translate into a financial impact. Think of it this way. Exposure is knowing a big storm is coming. Vulnerability is knowing if your basement is actually going to flood and what that's going to cost you. So how in the world do you close that gap between exposure and vulnerability? Well, that brings us to a new standard in intelligence, and it's built to do exactly that. Let's talk about RiskFootprint version 18. And look, version 18 isn't just a simple update. It's a fundamental leap forward. It's built from the ground up to give you faster, deeper, and way more transparent insights than we've ever had before. It's all about turning that abstract idea of risk into concrete, actionable data you can actually use. Now, this is really important. This isn't just some other black box tool. V18 is aligned with the brand new Property Resilience Assessment Standard from ASTM International. And if you don't know them, they're one of the world's largest organizations for this kind of thing. So what that means is you're getting a decision-ready platform that's built on a tough, globally recognized framework. All right, now for the main event, what's actually new and exciting in version 18. I like to think about the big innovations here as the 4 pillars of clarity, and each one is designed to give you an absolutely unprecedented view of your risk. So the first pillar is an absolute game changer, AI-derived first floor height, or FFH. It's pretty much what it sounds like. It's the elevation of a building's main floor. And believe it or not, for years, this has been the critical missing piece in almost every single flood model out there. Okay, here's a perfect example of why that matters so much. On the left, you've got your standard view of a property. On the right, you see a traditional flood map laid over it. Notice how that blue just shows that flooding is near the building? That's classic exposure. It tells you absolutely nothing about what's happening inside the building itself. But now, check this out. With version 18, powerful AI can estimate the first floor height for over 200 million buildings. And when you combine that FFH data with the flood models, it can actually reveal the potential flood depth inside the structure. Finally, you know if you're actually going to get wet and by how much. That is the definition of vulnerability. The second pillar is really the engine that's powering all this analysis. Incredibly high-resolution flood modeling. It's powered by industry giants, Fathom and Swiss Re. And V18 gives you this amazing precision. We're talking down to about 10-meter resolution for all kinds of flooding, whether it's from heavy rain, overflowing rivers, or coastal surges. Our third pillar translates all of that physical risk into a language that absolutely everyone understands: money. It's called expected annual loss, or EAL. Basically, this metric calculates the average financial loss you can expect from a specific hazard each year. It moves you away from some abstract score to a concrete dollar value. And this couldn't be more timely, honestly. As this quote from RiskFootprint's president points out, FEMA recently changed public access to its National Risk Index data. So RiskFootprint V18 is now essential for preserving that continuity, making sure that vital federal data is still accessible, and more importantly, translated into property-specific intelligence you can make decisions with. And we're not just talking about floods here. Using FEMA's own battle-tested HAZUS methodology, version 18 gives you building-specific expected annual loss values for 18 different hazards. We're talking everything from hurricanes and earthquakes all the way to wildfires and tornadoes. The fourth and final pillar is all about looking ahead. Because let's face it, risk isn't static. So V18 doesn't just assess your risk today, it projects that expected annual loss into the future, giving you a crystal clear view of how that risk is going to evolve by mid-century and then again by late century. And these forward-looking projections cover the big ones, the key climate-driven hazards like coastal flooding and sea level rise, extreme heat, drought, hurricane winds, and wildfire. This is absolutely crucial for any kind of long-term planning, for supporting climate disclosures, and for spotting mispriced risk in your portfolio right now. So you've got all this incredible data at your fingertips. Now the big question is, what can you actually do with it? Well, that brings us to our next section, turning insight into action. With version 18, you can finally shift from being reactive to being proactive. You can pinpoint mispriced risk in your assets. You can prioritize resilience investments where they'll actually have the greatest impact. It helps you strengthen your loan and insurance underwriting, gives you the hard data you need for climate disclosures, and helps you build a rock-solid ROI-based business case for taking action. And this isn't just a big data dump. It's designed to be part of a structured process. The platform plugs right into the Be Resilient workflow, which gives you this clear, repeatable path from that first hazard assessment through the vulnerability analysis all the way to implementing real resilience measures. Okay, let's bring this all home in our final section, Accelerate Your Resilience. This really is the path forward. When you really boil it all down, it comes to this one simple idea. RiskFootprint version 18 moves you from just knowing about your exposure to truly, deeply understanding your vulnerability. It builds a bridge over that dangerous gap between seeing risk on a map and feeling its financial impact on your bottom line. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Your portfolio's future value depends entirely on the risks you can measure today. So the real question is, are you measuring what truly matters? If you're ready to start measuring what truly matters, you can head over to RiskFootprint.com. You can learn a lot more there, order a detailed report for a specific property, or even schedule a full walkthrough of the platform. I really hope this has given you a clearer picture of the future of risk intelligence.